One night, the body of a woman named Loretta Swan was found in a forest. She was a single mother who had left behind only a daughter, Lazari. Next to the body was a sheet of paper. It was a farewell letter to her daughter. It said the following: "My dear Lazari, when you read this letter, you will have many unanswered questions. I hope that one day you can forgive me for the pain and suffering I caused you. And above all, for leaving you alone from now on. I have been struggling for a long time and madness is consuming my mind. But before I go, I want you to know the whole truth. You know that I have always been very religious and dedicated to following God's path. I never questioned it, not even when I found out I was sterile and couldn't have children. I was always grateful for everything the Creator gave me. I always wished to find true love and for us to be together until old age. One day I was in the library reading some books, studying for a college exam, and suddenly I felt like someone was watching me. And when I looked, I saw a man. It was the first time I saw him. He was the most handsome man my eyes had ever seen. He had a bright and attractive appearance. We exchanged a few smiles, and soon I was already in love. His name was Evan Harrison. Soon after we started going out, I was already in love. There was something captivating about that man, somewhere between unreal and divine. I entrusted my life and my secrets to him, even though he never wanted to talk about himself. I knew I was sterile, but he still convinced me to try to have the child I wanted so much. And to my surprise, we did it. I got pregnant and started to think it was a divine miracle. I had gone to every doctor in my country and they all told me I was sterile. I just thanked God. And then I had you, Lazari. You had the same divine and charming way as your father. But little by little, everything turned into darkness and evil. Evan left me and disappeared suddenly, without any explanation, and scary things started happening to you. Despite being abandoned by your father, Evan, you kept moving forward. You grew up happy with me, and every day I loved you more and more. Everything changed on your 4th birthday. Your charming ways soon faded, and something darker began to emerge. Your eyes no longer reflected the innocence that a child has. They now had a red glow, like the fire down below. I started to worry and to research in books about religion, looking for an explanation for what was happening to you, my daughter. This change was not normal. I know my daughter, and she is not like this. One day while I was at home reading the book, I heard some horrible screams in the backyard. I ran outside and saw a shocking scene. You were attacking our neighbor. He was trying to run, but you were biting his neck like a beast. Then, right after, you both fell to the ground. Lazar, you were biting like a wolf. The neighbor saw me and asked for help. But I couldn't move my feet. I was in shock and couldn't do anything. You were devouring him brutally. Even your body had mutated. You had claws and hooves, sharp pointed teeth, and a strange opening on your chest like a second mouth. I managed to approach you slowly, and when I called you, you saw me and returned to your normal form, running to hug me with tears in your eyes. Only at that moment did I see my beloved daughter. I couldn't allow anyone to discover this, or else you would be taken away from me. I'm sure the authorities would take you away forever, and I would never see you again. So I had to do something extreme, my daughter. I got rid of the neighbor by putting him in the backyard. And I chained you in the basement of our house. I spent sleepless nights investigating what could be happening. And after 2 months of reading piles and piles of books, I finally found the answer. The name is Zalgo, your father. He is a creature from the underworld, and I gave myself to him to have you. And the worst part is that now you are turning into a dark being, losing your human feelings and becoming a creature of darkness. That's why I locked myself in the basement with you and did my best to drive out that evil that lives inside you. All the rituals I performed, all the suffering I put you through. It was all just to make you go back to being the same sweet girl you used to be. It was to drive out the part of your father that's in your body. I was hurting you a lot with those exorcisms. And I was hurting myself too. Seeing you suffer wasn't easy. I even tried to look for Zalgo and talk to him, make some kind of deal to free you, but he didn't answer my calls. Damn Zalgo for destroying my life. He wants to take you from me and my daughter, but I won't allow it. Listen to me carefully. Lazari, run as far as you can. Always be on alert. And don't trust anyone. I love you and I always will. Lazari looked at her mother, hugging her teddy bear. She didn't understand anything because she's too young and illiterate. Now she's alone and has nowhere to go. She started wandering through the forest until she came across a strange figure. A tall man, faceless, dressed in a black suit and surrounded by tentacles coming out of his back. She wanted to meet him and be his friend. So she reached out her hand, and the man took her. A lady of about 50 years old. She was driving. Her facial expression was somber and sad, although she forced a smile. From time to time, she looked back through the rearview mirror. Her son was in the back seat. The boy looked exhausted. His eyes were dark. They seemed empty. He was wearing a white shirt and pants that had been given to him at the hospital. He had cuts on his face near his mouth, and his right arm was bandaged from wrist to shoulder. It had been crushed when he broke the car window. Although his wounds looked painful, he couldn't feel anything. He grew up with a rare disease that left him completely numb to pain. He could have lost his arm and still wouldn't feel anything. Besides that, he had another disorder, Tourette's syndrome, which causes uncontrollable tics. He often moved his neck and trembled from time to time. The kids at school ridiculed him and called him Toby. So Toby Rogers dropped out of school and started studying at home. When the car hit a small bump, everything about the accident came back to his mind. He couldn't stop thinking about his older sister, Tracy. He was lucky to have survived. He saw glass everywhere, the blood, the explosions. Why did it have to be her? Everything went blank for a moment. After a few hours, they returned home. It was an old neighborhood with simple little houses. The car stopped in front of a small blue house. There was an old red car parked there. It belonged to his father. Toby was full of anger and frustration. He had never really acted like a real father. Before getting out of the car, he asked his mother, "Why are you here? He's your father, my son. He's here to see you." But he didn't even go to the hospital to see Tracy before she died. He was drunk. He couldn't drive. They got out of the car, and your father just stood there. Your mother ignored him and put her arm around Toby's shoulder as they walked toward the house. "How about a welcome hug, kid?" The woman ignored her husband's unpleasant words and kept walking. "Why don't you go to your room and get some rest? I'll call you when dinner is ready." Toby's room was small. It only had a bed, a wardrobe, and a window. The walls were decorated with old family photos from when they were still really a united family before his father became an alcoholic and violent. With his father falling into the world of drinking, the constant abuse began. The family suffered a lot. His mother and sister were the most affected. After all, he didn't feel any pain. That made the alcoholic even angrier, and the spiral of violence only grew worse. He redid the bandage on his arm, but he was used to it coming off because of his tics.
He went downstairs for dinner. His father was still at home. When is he going to leave?
"I'm not sure, dear." They ate in silence, but Toby couldn't stand it. He went back to his room. He tossed and turned, unable to sleep. He was hearing the sound of the tires again, trying to steady himself on the ground, and his sister's screams.
He cried inconsolably with his pillow over his face so his mother wouldn't hear. Feeling a little better, he got up and went to the window. He looked at the trees outside. There was something standing there. He didn't know exactly what it was, but he couldn't look away from that thing. It had no features, no eyes or mouth, not even a nose.
Its arms were long. He heard a buzzing sound that intensified. Suddenly, everything went black. Toby woke up in his bed the next morning. He felt different. He wasn't tired at all, and everything flowed differently in his mind. But everything changed when he tried to get up. He was very dizzy, staggered to the door and went down the stairs. His parents were in the living room, his mother cleaning the table and his father watching television from the couch. The scene repeated itself for several days. Toby wasn't feeling well, and every time he left his room, he saw his father on the couch watching television, and his mother still hadn't kicked him out of the house. He spent nights looking out the window, trying to relive that moment with that strange creature. He was more nervous than usual. His tics were getting worse, and he couldn't stop biting his nails. A day went by, and he almost lost his fingers. From biting so much, he wouldn't have noticed if he hadn't seen the blood staining his pants. At that moment, his mother came in through the door, frightened. She ran to get the bandage and swore never to leave him alone again. But Toby was becoming more and more reluctant to human contact. He began to lose his memories and have hallucinations. His mother, increasingly worried, decided to take him to a specialist. Dr. Oliver received them. She was holding a notebook and a pen. "Nice to meet you." The doctor asked a few simple questions. "How old are you, Toby?" 17. "What is your full name?" "Toby Aaron Rogers." "When is your birthday?" "April 28th. "How many members are there in your family?" Toby paused for a moment. "My mother, my father, my sister. I heard about your dear sister. I'm so sorry. Do you remember anything about the accident, Toby?" He looked away. His mind went blank for a moment. He felt a strong chill down his back. He couldn't say anything else and ended up breaking down. After fainting in Dr. Oliver's office, Toby woke up in a hospital bed. The buzzing had returned. He looked around but didn't find the faceless creature. It was his dead sister. Her eyes were empty, her skin was pale, and a piece of her jaw was hanging. Blood was running down her face. Toby didn't understand anything. He couldn't stop looking at her. He looked closer and found the tall creature again. Behind her were rows of children and teenagers, their eyes completely black. Toby tried to scream, tried to escape, but everything went dark. He fainted again. Then he woke up. It had been a dream. His head was spinning non-stop. The anger was growing inside him. He remembered his sister and his father. The hatred was getting stronger and stronger. He had to do something. Was Toby going insane? He got up, grabbed his hoodie, and walked out the door of his room. He thought he saw her walking down the hallway. He started walking silently behind his father. His body wouldn't stop shaking. He noticed that a fire safety panel was hanging on the wall. He broke the glass with his bandaged hand. He didn't feel anything. He grabbed the axe and the mask. He put them on. There were also some orange smoke goggles. He saw himself in the reflection of a window. It was perfect. He started laughing out loud, and his father turned around, but he didn't have time to react. The blood started to spill and splatter everywhere. The hospital alarm went off. Toby felt his vision blur. The ringing in his ear wouldn't stop. In the distance, he saw that imposing creature in the darkness. He seemed to be dressed in a dark black suit, and his face was completely white. He followed him, and that's how Toby Rogers died, and Tiki Toby was born.